Tuesday for midweek motivation. Kyle's back here doing some dishes while I am on live tonight. How are you? How's it going? Cheryl's here. Says, hi, Jenn. Looking forward to your live. Let me know where you're watching from. Where are you watching this from tonight? Right now, we are in Beattyville, Kentucky. Travis and Yanai are here. Hey, peeps. What was for dinner? So we actually had a potluck with a few other families that are hanging out here at the campground that we're at. So what did you make tonight, honey?
Caesar pasta salad, and Molly made brownies.
Yeah, Molly made some gluten-free brownies. Kyle made Caesar pasta salad, so it was delicious. Dawn Marie's here, says hi, Jenn and Kyle. And Kimberly says hello from Viva Las Vegas. Yep, Cheryl says hi, you dream on wheels. So midweek motivation is all about stuff a different topic that I've been working on. So every week I like to kind of set an intention for my week and put it on the board over there. And so this week is all about choices. And what I do is each week I grow through some stuff and then we talk about it on here live. So if you've got any questions that you'd like to ask, drop them in the chat. I am an open book if you need just like some sounding board for whatever is going on in your life right now. Catherine Martin's here. She says, hey there. Hey. Heather says, hey, hype couple. Been missing y'all. We miss you too. We're slowly getting back at it, taking a little bit of time. We needed some mental health time. We've been really working behind the scenes though. We've got some cool stuff coming up. Deborah McDermott's here. Says, hope everyone is having a good week. It is really good. Kyle's doing dishes tonight. Normally I do dishes and I'm kind of loving this a little bit. Dan's here. Hi all. Hey Dan. Hopefully you get to head south soon. And Patsy Castine says, hello, my TQ, my traveling queen. Oh, I love it. So let's get chatting. This week I have been, contemplating choices and if, we have the power to control those choices that we make. So I've been trying it out. There was this week I had the option, not really the option, but Kyle needed some short form videos edited. And I sat there and was like, I really don't want to do this. And I said this choice out loud. I said, I'm choosing not to edit these videos. And as soon as I said that out loud to myself, I was like, oh, I don't want to choose that. I want to do my work. I want to get this done. And so once I said my choice out loud, I recognized my choice and the effects that it would have. We wouldn't get the videos out. We wouldn't be able to make up on time. And then I realized, oh, I don't want to do that. So I'm going to change my choice. I'm going to go ahead and get these videos edited. And afterwards, I was so happy that I did. So I've been doing this with so many different things. Every conscious choice that I've been making, I've said it to myself and been like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I'm gonna make this choice right now. We're good. Or I take a step back and process it. And I'm like, oh, that's not a good idea. Have you been making any choices, babe, that you felt like you've taken a step back and thought about them for a little bit?
Mostly night eating. I eat relatively nothing all day. I usually have a good dinner, but I have the hardest time when I'm laying in bed. I get hungry, I'm watching TV, and I'm like, all I want to do is eat at that point, but that's like literally one of the worst times I can eat. So I've been trying, and I'm not going to say I've had much success, but I'll keep trying.
Yeah, like I think that when you're able, because I feel like you don't ever have control of anything ever, literally. If you think about it, the one thing that you do have control over is your choice. You get to decide, you have your free will, and you get to decide what you do and don't do. And I think that's been such a game changer for me this week, is kind of looking at my choice from that higher perspective instead of just, choosing the easier path or the more comfortable path. And this really makes you realize what your choices are. Also, I love that everybody is in the chat talking to each other. Dawn Marie's talking to Cheryl. Deborah's talking to Darren. I love it. So what choices, or let me put it this way, what situations lately can you think of that you've wished that you could have went back and changed a choice? I've found that a lot. For the last 3 weeks, I have not gotten the video edited because we've just been so busy. And, I've had to choose my own mental health, and I've had to choose my family over editing the video. And every choice affects somebody. Every choice has consequences. And that's what we kind of want to teach the kids, is that, everybody has a choice to make.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think for me, it's a good way. It gives you a chance to. It gives you a second chance to think about what you're about to do versus just going ahead and doing it. Like, do I really want to do this type of thing? So I think that's a good one for me. I'm going to keep working on it with the eating at night thing, but hopefully it'll kick in pretty soon.
Yeah, I think working together, and Kyle and I have gotten to the point in our relationship where communication is so much better. Kyle and I had this talk. We were kind of talking about it today, how, people tell us how lucky we are to have the other person, but neither one of us came this way. We've had to really work hard to be able to grow together and to communicate and to have the relationship that we do now. Lorna says, you have a lot going on, Jen. We always do. And some things just have to go by the wayside. Like we can't do certain things, and it's okay. That was a lot on me, that guilt, when you make a choice. And for women, this is very hard. The female guilt and the mom guilt is real, that, when you choose yourself, say you want to have some self-care, but your child really needs something. However, your child is very capable of doing that thing that they need. But somehow moms still feel guilty for going on that walk for themselves instead of pouring their kids' milk into the bowl for cereal. And so mom guilt is something that I struggle with a lot, or I used to struggle with a lot. And now what I've realized is my choice is that my kids can manage on their own. Eli, our youngest is 8, and yep, Eli's right there. Our youngest is 8. And so he's able to take care of himself. He is able to do certain things. And I've got to give him that space to do it. I've got to make the choice to allow Eli his own space to be able to make choices. Lorna says, it's good to be on the same page. For real, for a lot of years of our marriage, we spent not on the same page. You can sit with me if you want. Come on over. Kyle's joining me tonight. For many years, we were not on the same page as far as communication goes. And you had to make the conscious choice to get better.
Yeah, communication was, I think a lot of men struggle with that. I think it's just the way we're raised, we're conditioned growing up. Yeah, but communication is key to any relationship, I think, not just your marriage, but I think any friendship or anything like that.
Well, and you had to make that choice to improve, to get better. Like I had to make that choice to work on myself.
Right.
So, you have the choice to either stay the same and at the same pace, or you have the choice to get better at what you were doing in life.
Yeah.
Cheryl said, I had spaghetti and meatballs, Dawn Marie. I love it. Lorna says, it's good to be on the same page. That took a little bit of time, though, for us to get on the same page.
Oh, yeah.
Jane says, hi from Australia. Hi, Jane. Patsy says, hello, King Kyle.
Yeah, we had the potluck, and it was kind of like a soup, and I made a salad. We had this potato, chicken, corn, bacon chowder that was fantastic. Everything was good. Like, oh man, I'm so full. Like, I just want to go to bed. I'm so stuffed.
It was delicious. Travis and I said, we've been choosing to help our oldest with our grandson more than some might. On one hand, it might make them lean on us more, but it gets us more time with our grandson. So that's a bonus to us. Honestly, choosing to help your child out, your child's just having their baby and they want their mom and dad there to be with them and to help them. And I think that's a beautiful choice that y'all are making. In hindsight, looking back, when I was a young mom, my mother and everybody around me told me you can't hold the baby because it'll spoil them too much. And now looking back, I'm like, who gives a damn? Like, it's a baby. They want to be loved. They want to be cared for. They want to be soothed. They want to be held.
Yeah.
And that's the time that you do it. So yes, you choose that all day long and give some baby kisses for me because that new baby smell is phenomenal.
Bottle that stuff.
Yeah. So what, from like a male perspective, what is what was the hardest thing about realizing that you have a choice?
Wow, that's a good one. You guys put me on the spot here a little bit. I think it's just slowing down and don't react, but think, have that choice, take time to think about that choice. I think so many of us, especially me, I would just react. And then I would usually regret my reaction. So it's easier just to slow it down. I'm like, okay, so I can choose to be mad in this moment or really let this get me aggravated, or I can choose to kind of take let it stew on it a little bit and see how I feel about it an hour from now. And usually once the emotion wears off, your choices are going to change. So
for me, I know that I used to be very reactive and if something happened, I wanted a solution right here, right now, because if I did not, I'm going to explode. And being able to recognize that I do have a choice in everything in life, I was able to slow down and say, okay, do I really want to choose this path? Because it's probably not a good option.
Well, I think the reaction is you want to settle your anxieties because your anxiety's shooting through the roof, panic's going off, all these sirens are going off, and your reaction is to do whatever it is to satisfy that anxiety.
Yeah.
But at that point, you're just playing your anxiety's games. So yeah.
Not very good. Beau Talks. Hello. I love your family dynamic, especially the intercommunication between you and Kyle. I live with my dad and sister and are trying to find a new dynamic since the loss of my mom in May. Suggestions. One, I'm so sorry for your loss. Our love goes out to you. That had to be so hard on you and your dad and your sister. Something that is big in our house is family meetings. Yeah. So we have a family meeting and it is a safe space to where, we aren't reactive. And we just let the other person talk and tell us what they need and what's going on with them.
I think the safe space thing is everything. I mean, that's just, it's hard. It's easy to say, but it's a little more challenging to do because when you've got 3 or 4 different personalities sitting together, one's going to react different than the other. So keeping the space safe is everything. But I think that's very important for anybody to be able to say their piece and be able to do it in that safe space is key, whatever the situation may be. But yeah, family meetings are huge. We have at least one a week, if not a couple, some weeks more than we would like to admit. But I mean, it's how we get everybody together. They have to put their electronics down. We put our electronics down, whatever it may be. We put our work down and we try to work through stuff. And I think that's all we can really do.
Because I think people just really want to be seen, heard, validated, and loved, because like we talked about, there's one experience, two different perspectives. In y'all's case, there's one experience, three different perspectives. And so just talk, the more you do family meetings, the more you talk, the more you have safe spaces, the more normal you make it, the more comfortable everybody gets. We have family rules. We have a list of family rules. Our therapist told us that that's what we needed to do. And everybody came up with different rules for, the family and what they wanted to see for us. But you guys are going to do great. You're going to get this, some practice, and it's just getting uncomfortable.
Yeah, it's going to be uncomfortable at first. I mean, it was for me. I never spoke about emotion for 35 years almost, and it's going to be uncomfortable, but it's you don't really learn anything unless you get yourself uncomfortable.
Colby, hey, how are you, beautiful? Where are you guys at now? Like, I know they were in Idaho. They're settling down, and I have not been.
A lot of folks have settled down in the last year.
Us, not so much.
Yeah, we haven't settled down yet.
Darren, everyone, how is your mental health doing? Pretty good. Today I've gotten in this routine where I will take with my female ADHD, I make the conscious choice to, now my work days look different. So I'll work for a little bit in the morning, and then I'm like, oh, I need to go take a walk. And so I'll go out in nature and I'll go take a walk. And then I come back and I work. And oh, I need to go out and just sit outside for a little bit. Then I come back in and work. And I actually am so much more productive when I take breaks instead of just powering through my day.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm the same way. There's no way I can sit in one place and do one task for more than probably an hour. I've always been that way, and at a certain point I get super unproductive, and I end up just playing a game on my phone and not even doing what I was supposed to be doing. So,
and now we're working with our ADHD instead of against it. Yeah. Botox says apologies. Oh no, that's what we're here for. I love you. But I mean, that's what this space is for, to ask those questions. I know this isn't, our typical Sunday night live, but this is more so for helping your mental health and giving a safe space to be able to share. Colby says, I have no idea what's going on in your life. I've been MIA. I hope you guys are doing well. Sending love. We're doing great. So much healthier than we were this time last year.
Oh yeah.
This time last year was not a good time for me.
It was a rough year. I mean, from basically October to October was a really challenging year for us. We've made a lot of turns in the right direction since, early October, but we're doing okay right now.
Patsy says, making better decisions means you're learning from your mistakes, or it does for me.
Well, mistakes are everything. I mean, if you don't make mistakes and if you're not failing, you're not growing. You're never gonna. Like tonight, I made a Caesar pasta salad. I've made this recipe probably a dozen times now. And I switched to a different brand of mayonnaise. And two, I added a little bit more than I probably should have. And I paid for it. I had to tweak because it was super mayonnaise. And if you've ever made dressings and used mayonnaise base, it's very hard to get rid of that mayonnaise taste once you've added too much. So I learned a lesson. I made that mistake. I probably won't make it again. You can always add more mayonnaise. It's kind of hard to take it away once you've already started it. So I fought that for like 30 minutes, just adjusting, tweaking. I finally got it to where it was somewhat edible and everybody liked it. So
it was great.
But that's one of the things, lesson right there. I consciously know that now. Next time I'll put probably a tablespoon or two less mayonnaise in the recipe.
Well, and I think the game changer is that we make the choice now to not get upset and beat ourselves up. Because for me,
because that's not productive.
No, when I would make a mistake or something would happen, I would beat myself up and be like, oh my gosh, Jen, you're an idiot. Like, why would you do that? Like, and then I would go through it and just stay in this cycle of just anger and disappointment in myself. And now I'm like, oh, that's a great life lesson for me. Fantastic. Yeah. And then we move on. When you shift it into that, I feel like you start to grow a lot more.
Absolutely. Well, it's like with kids, your reaction is the kid dumps the milk on the floor. you want to react like, oh my God, I can't believe you did that. But at the end of the day, I mean, they know that. I don't think any kid,
Yep.
not many kids are just going to dump milk on the floor just for the hell of it, like we wouldn't do either.
No.
So, I mean, Jen uses that one a lot. And it's challenging. I mean, you're in that moment, you have that reaction. Sometimes it gets away from you before you can slow it down. And, it's something you just consciously have to try to do better each time it happens.
And something that we are doing now is like, I tell him, listen, I'm having a very anxious kind of day. If I start to become too harsh of a mom, because my mother was very harsh with me and I don't want to do that to my kids. So I'll tell him I have enough confidence in him that I'm like, hey, can you just like give me a signal if I'm being too harsh? And he does. And I don't take offense to it, because he's helping me. And when he's like, hey, it's a little harsh, I'm like, okay, then I observe my breathing, bring it all down. And then it's a lot of work, but
yeah,
it's so nice to just be content in life. Whoa, too says, how's the mental health going with that starter? I hope not too much of a headache.
Honestly, I couldn't have broke down in a better situation. It was tough. I mean, I got frustrated at first. I was literally, it's an old country road, so there's virtually no traffic. But I broke down right in the middle of the road. Like there was no lanes getting by. Luckily, a friend showed up like 2 minutes later in his truck. We called the guy that owned
the friend that showed up was a diesel mechanic. We had no idea.
And the friends that own the property, they have a big tractor. So we, within a couple minutes, we had the bus out of the road. Like, if you're going to break down, like that's like the perfect scenario. But no, luckily I woke up the next day, yanked it off. There's 3 bolts on it, and I fought one bolt for about 30 minutes till I had an aha moment. I was like, oh, I did it. I did it 2 years ago. And I got it off in like 20 seconds after then. Took it to a shop like an hour away. He had one. I bought it and brought it back and put it on. It's perfectly fine. So honestly, one of the easier fixes I've had in quite a long time.
Well, I think the lesson, like we like to find lessons in everything. So that lesson from that opportunity was that Kyle's not good at asking or receiving help. He just wants to do it himself, or he wants me to like be there with him because that's his comfort zone. And so he had to step out of his comfort zone and allow other people to help you because you weren't going anywhere.
Yeah, and that's one of the beautiful things about the community I'm in. We're in. I mean, everybody that was there to help lives the same lifestyle. And they've all been there before.
Yeah.
So of course they bring everything they have, their tools, their chains, their tractor, whatever they had handy. And with a few minutes, we had the problem taken care of. So that's a beautiful thing.
Botox says, thank you guys. So much love for you guys. I appreciate your attention and everyone else responding as well. Of course, that's what we are here for. We're here for you. Ansley says, not gonna lie, Jen always kept keeping me been calm and sane so many times throughout her shorts. I've worked very hard at maintaining my calm, my Zen Jen, I call it, because I was such a yelling mom. Like when my mom yelled at me, I yelled at my kids. And I read this book called How to Stop Losing Your Shit on Your Kids. And it was a very life-changing book because it taught me that, okay, we need to, let's dial it back. And so throughout the years, I've gotten to where I only yell when they push me to my absolute breaking point.
And they have their days. I mean, I'm sure everybody's kids have those days where you can tell them nicely half a dozen times. And then the 10th and 12th time, you're like, you just kind of like, well, how, at this point, I've tried every other option. What else can I do? And you end up, it happens. But I still think even in those moments, there's still stuff to learn from that.
Yeah, absolutely. Patricia says, Jen and Kyle, you missed your calling. You're an amazing couple and have an amazing vlog. Thank you for sharing. Always. I'm going to try and get a stinking vlog out this week. It's just, like I said, it's been a little hectic and chaotic lately, but we are getting stuff out. Karen, hello, Jen and Kyle. Lots of love to you. We love you, Karen. Ansley says, I love and appreciate Jen's story about mental health segments. We've got some stuff coming up called Hope for the Holidays. And so we've got some cool things rolling out. We'll have one short form come out every day about a different tip or affirmation or something to keep you growing through the holidays.
Yeah, because it's such a, we realize there's a lot of people that do struggle during the holidays, whether that be a family issue, loneliness, depression, whatever that may be. We want to try to do a little bit of our part to, maybe brighten a person or Tuesday up. So
to be there for everybody.
So January December 1st through December 31st, we'll have one of those a day coming out.
And what's coming back on Mondays, Monday evenings? What's coming back?
The 4th, the 11th, the 18th, and the 25th. I'm going to be doing a Cooking with Kyle live stream. That'll be Mondays the entire month of December. We're going to start with Monday, the 4th. We're going to do sides. So we're going to make a whole bunch of sides, holiday sides. I'm going to do a couple quirky ones, something you wouldn't normally see on the holiday table. And then maybe, of course, maybe do a couple traditional ones. And it'll be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, he's happy about Cooking with Kyle coming back. So we've really planned out our schedule. And so 4 months out of the year, we will be partnering with a different give back company. So we're going to do a fundraiser to give back. And then we're going to have all of our live streams that month, all of our shorts that month. And we're going to take in between times off, not to get.
Well, in those, we're just going to have our 5. Our goal is to do 5 short forms a week. So it'll be Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. 1 short form a day. We're not blowing up our feeds anymore. 1 a day. It's going to be a well-edited, well-produced video. Mm-hmm. And then we'll have a weekly vlog every week, hopefully 52 weeks a year, starting Saturday. You're going to make sure of that, right?
Yes, I am. Colby said, so glad to hear about being in a better place. Gonna need to catch up with you on IG. We're in Idaho still, loving it. It feels right. Y'all sound like a team. I know you've done the work to get there. There's freedom in knowing your partner is for you and not against you. I love you. And yes, like knowing that your partner is with you on this, like we're on the same page now. And so much so to where like, I don't even have to say anything. Like if he says something that maybe wasn't the best thing to say to me, and then he stops and thinks about it and he's like, I am so sorry. That was not what I meant to say.
Yeah, because I struggle with it. I'm a very direct person, and I don't do it to be an asshole or ill intent, but I'm just I don't talk a lot. In life, I'm a very quiet person. So when I talk, I usually talk when I have something to say. So I'm usually very direct with that. And sometimes that comes out harsher than it probably should. We have to work on that with Molly too. She's she's the same way in a lot of ways. So, but I've softened my delivery. It's just practice. You're going to fall on your face more than, dozens and dozens of times, but as long as you practice a little bit each time, you'll eventually get where it's just second nature.
Well, really what unlocked it for me is that I have the choice. The choice is mine. Yeah. Like, you can't blame. And we've struggled with this with Eli. He likes to put blame on everybody else and not take responsibility.
As an 8-year-old,
but we want to model the right behavior for our kids, not just tell them how to be, but actually model it in our relationship. Hey, Kay. Hello, all. I'm late again. Happy Wednesday. Better late than never. Ansley says, I do the same thing. So that's great to hear, especially having kiddos almost 4 and almost 6 and almost 10.
Yeah, you're pretty close. You're running with us.
Yeah.
Same gap.
And parenting is hard. There's no handbook for this. And something that we have chosen to do is be open with the kids and really talk to them about their mental health. Like they know when we go into therapy, they know that we're on the call. They know if like Molly knows that I'm having a panic attack or if I'm really anxious in a store, she will help me with the cart and she will then drive the cart where it needs to go. She's like, don't worry, Mom, we got to go get water. And so we're just very collaborative as a family as a whole, I feel like.
Well, I mean, it's, a family of 5. I mean, there's 5 different personalities. That's 5 different love language, most likely 5 different attitudes and ways of doing things. So you think about it, like when you think you just get 5 random people in a room, it's challenging to find common ground all day, every day, so parenting's not easy.
And living in 350 square feet. Homeschool. We're with our kids 24/7.
We haven't had a night without the kids in about 6 months.
Yeah.
Over 6 months.
Yeah.
So.
And they've gotten to where they honestly they just like being with us.
They like their space, like we were in a hotel last weekend and everybody it's just so big. And, it sounds funny, a hotel room. It was a large hotel room, but still, it's just so, I never thought I'd see the day where I felt like a hotel room was big.
Was big for us. Helen, OMG. Well, hello, beautiful family. It's been a long time since I caught a live. Miss you guys. We miss you too. Hope you're doing well, Helen. Darren said, did you see the pic? No, I haven't really picked my phone up for much of anything because I avoid that thing like the plague.
No, I don't. I mean, if I'm on my phone, I'm usually playing a game or something.
Like my friends, I'm like, listen, I love you guys. I'll respond back in 48 to 72 business hours. Yeah, because during the day, I don't have it unless I set time to work on it. That's about the only. But I'll look. I bet you it's probably snowing there. And he says, growing up in an only father household with a brother, things were hard being the only girl my whole life. Imagine going through womanhood for the first time.
Sure. Yeah, I can only imagine. Yeah, that's got to be challenging.
And that's really tough, for you to feel comfortable. You probably didn't feel comfortable talking about that in a very masculine energy space, whereas like a more feminine dominant energy space is open and safe space. And like even Kyle, it's taken him some time. We just had this conversation a little bit ago about my cycle and how we both really don't give each other the love we need during that. And we weren't really sure why, but now we're kind of committed to, okay, during that week, we're going to make sure we show mom care because I'm the emotional anchor of our family. And if mom is not doing okay, if you're or if the dad is the emotional anchor, whoever is the emotional anchor,
right,
you need to make sure like during their rough week that everybody kind of cares for that person. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm sorry, guys.
Yeah, you're sleeping a lot.
Tired.
Ainsley said, buying that book now. It was a great book. I love that book. It put a lot in perspective. Because my mom yelled at me all the time. She yelled at me. And so I kind of subconsciously took that with myself when I parented.
Oh, yeah.
It's amazing how much when you start peeling back the layers of trauma that you realize the things that you do to your children and to your partner that your parents did.
Right.
And then you're like, oh, we realize that our parents were doing the best they could with what they had. We don't fault them. We don't hold anger, like all of that. We've let that go, but we can recognize that, that our parents did that. Maybe we want to break that cycle.
Yeah, you pick up and you start to realize where certain traits come from, good and bad, mostly bad with trauma. But
yeah,
it's interesting. I've been on that journey lately a lot, like every day or every week at least. But mostly with Eli, because me and Eli are very similar, especially as a child. I was very similar to Eli. A lot of things he does reaction-wise is a lot of the way I reacted. And I forgot about most of it, it's 30 years ago. But it's interesting.
It's interesting when you peel back those layers. Michelle, happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday, Michelle. Hope you're doing good. Deborah. Hello, sweet couple. Love you. We love you too. Helen, I've just been getting back on track after my mother passed away suddenly 6 months ago. I am so sorry, Helen. You've been really your family has really been going through it, sending you all the love and caring vibes that we can. Michelle says, I'm looking for a support group of military family and spouses. I'm usually okay, but sometimes I cannot sleep. I know your baby boy just went overseas, and that is so hard. And if I hear of anything, I will absolutely let you know.
I'm sure there's stuff in the Tampa Bay area. I couldn't imagine there not being. I wish I could give you a contact. I'm not ex-militaries. I don't have a lot of resources in that department.
Yeah, but if we do hear of anything, we will for sure let you know. Tampa's a big military town, so there's a lot that's there. Darren said, giggles, Jen. I'll let the pick answer. I'm pretty sure that you're probably covered in snow right now.
It was warm here. It got up to almost 80 degrees here today. This time last week, it was like high of like 45. Like it was really chilly. It was 80 freaking degrees here today. And then tomorrow it's supposed to rain and get back down in the 30s at night. So
yeah,
nice. Probably the last little hoorah for Kentucky's fall or whatever. Warm weather. But Kentucky's lovely. I mean, the part we're in is very, very rural, but it's a lot of rolling hills, and it's very pretty. Still a little bit of the fall foliage holding on, but very pretty area.
Oh, Michelle, I do have a recommendation for sleep, though. There's a natural supplement called valerian root. You can get it at pretty much any health food store. I use that to go to sleep.
Well, It's actually the active ingredient in Valium. Is
Yes.
valerian root.
Yeah.
So it works.
It's really great. It puts you right to sleep. I would only really take one capsule, but it depends on the one that you buy. But valerian root is great for a natural sleep aid.
It smells like absolute crap.
Oh, it's disgusting.
But it does work.
It works great. Deborah says it's cold in upstate New York.
Yeah, I think winter is definitely coming. Like I said, I imagine this will be our last warm spell, at least till we get down to Florida.
Well, and like for us, what we're going to be working on is our mental health going back down to Florida.
Yeah.
It holds about 99.9% of the traumas that we have.
Right. Yeah, I mean, we spent all of our lives there. I mean, with the exception of the last 40 years, I mean, we've spent all of our adult and child, adolescent lives there. But I think we're going to go back in a little different place this year. I think we're going back with intentions of having fun and really enjoying Florida for what's there, enjoying our time there. So I think we're both looking forward to it.
But we've put an action plan in place for going into Florida. We have protocols. I think when you start your healing journey and you begin therapy, you learn how important it is to have those protocols in place for when things do happen.
Yeah, because it's gonna happen. I think that's a big one for me and Jen. Especially since we're much more similar than we once were, but very different emotionally. Mm-hmm. So it's very important for us to have a protocol, to have plan and action, when things happen.
Well, and I think accepting the other person for where they are in their healing journey, and being patient. Like we've had to learn about patience this week.
Patience is I've always struggled with patience. I still do. I mean, I don't think I'll ever escape that completely. But
well, I think us replanning all of our content, rebranding and replanning our content and all of that. There's so many things that we have coming down the pipe. But we're only adding on like one thing at a time. You're going to put everyone to sleep, honey.
I'm exhausted, guys.
Helen says, thanks, guys. You've always been so supportive throughout the good and bad times. Love you guys. We love you right back. Deborah says, thanks for always being kind and giving us love. Bless you so much. That's what we want to focus on for Hope for the Holidays. That's going to be our campaign December 1st through the 31st. We just want to offer people a place to come and hang out. What we've realized is there's so many people that are either homebound by themselves, that are lonely. There's so many lonely people out there. So we want to show up every single week in the month of December. Multiple times. We'll have our Sunday night live. We'll have Cooking with Kyle Monday. We'll have midweek motivation Wednesday. Then we'll have our video on Saturdays that come out and some short form being mixed in, because we want to be there for everybody this holiday season, because it's hard on the holidays.
Yeah, for sure.
Deborah says, thank you for giving my brain things to think about.
Definitely try it out. I mean, I think what she's on to something there. You're consciously saying, I'm going to do this, or I'm going to do this, or I'm not going to do this. I think it gives you, for me, I'm too fast. I do things too fast, or I try to do things too fast. So taking that one extra second or two to ask myself that question or to give myself that answer might slow me down enough to make the right choice or to see it through a little differently.
Talk about the hotel, because this is the story that really started the choice for me. When we went to St. Louis to pick up the new bus, we had RV Steve Travels watch two of the dogs. So he stayed with Eloise and Kevin. Theodore went with me because he's my service dog. And then Chico came with us because Chico. Molly wanted Chico to go. So you tell the story about this.
So the first night we stayed in hotels. We rarely, we never stay in hotels. So the kids wanted to stay in hotels. Like, fine. We ended up staying in affordable hotels for 3 nights. So the first night we're going up. We're up in Illinois. I think we're in Mount Vernon, Illinois. And we're checking into this hotel. We made sure they allow dogs, and they did, which is, I didn't realize most hotels now do allow dogs, which is kind of interesting to me. But anyway, Chico's 4 or 5 pounds on soaking wet on a good day. So it's like, you know what? I'm not paying a $35 fee to check for this dog to sleep for 8 hours in a hotel room. He's 5 pounds. He's fine. because Theodore's free because he's a service dog, so it's included in the rent. So I said that, we were talking about it, and Eli's like, no, you can't do that. We have to pay for Chico. And it stopped me dead in my tracks. I'm like, huh? That's $35 I'm saving here. That's breakfast tomorrow or lunch. He's like, no, we can't do that. He kept on about it.
He said that's wrong.
Yeah, he's like, he would not let up about that. And I think me and her, she wasn't really on board. I'm a cheapskate. I'm sorry. It is what it is. And I was like, you know what? We can't do that. Yeah, Eli's right. That's not the right thing to do. And it took my 8-year-old telling me that to make that choice. And I mean, we paid the fee and went on about our day. But that was a big point for me, realizing, that's one of those things. I had to ask myself that question: am I doing the right thing? And Eli was there to make sure I did.
Eli was there to be like, no, Dad, that's wrong. We need to pay for this. And that's what started my thinking of choice. And, that stopped Kyle, just hearing his choice out loud of what he was about, the choice he was about to make.
Especially from Eli, because he's a kid that doesn't really speak up about much, especially something like that. But there's certain things that he comes through on, and you're just like, wow, I had no idea he was paying attention.
And it helps listening to your kids because they have great insight that you wouldn't normally think of. Helen said, I heard about your new bus. Tell me about it, please.
So it's a 1998 MCI 102 DL3. Not that probably means anything to you. But it was what they called a VIP coach. So it was basically just to drive around big wigs from a corporation.
The Piggly Wiggly.
Yeah, the Piggly Wiggly Corporation on the East Coast. I think they're North Carolina and Alabama and stuff like that. So they had it bought and had it converted. It's like it had like a little kitchenette. It had a lot of chairs in it. So I think they would just probably take it to events and stuff, and it would just be used for that. So majority of its life, it did that. And for the last 5 or 6 years, a man in Missouri bought it, and he was a gospel musician, and he would tour around Missouri in it. So very, very little use. It's 5 feet longer than what we have. It's 6 inches longer and about 6 inches taller. So, it doesn't sound like a lot, but it's going to give us a lot more usable space. So we're pretty excited about it.
Deborah says, know what you mean. I'm 72 and all alone. Lost my other half in 2022 of lung and brain cancer. I'm still not over it. I am so sorry. I've never lost my other half. I've lost a son, but it's very different than losing someone that you've been with we were together for 41 years. When you wake up next to someone for 41 years, they're going to leave a hole in your heart when they're not there. And I just sending you so much love. And I just can't imagine what you're going through.
Sorry to hear that.
And this holiday season, we're here for you. We're going to show up as much as we can. Because what we realize is a lot of people are alone and lonely and don't have family nearby or don't have family that visits.
So much. I mean, people with anxiety to go out during the holidays because it's so chaotic. I mean, there's a lot of factors, a lot of different reasons why it is a tough time for them. Military. There's so many factors, Holidays for the majority of us is a pretty pleasurable, enjoyable time, but we do realize there's a lot that it's not the case. Yeah.
So we're going to be here for you. Ainsley says, so glad everyone has y'all to fall back on hard times. We want to be the bright side of social media and be a place that's positive and loving where you can come and it's a safe space. Yeah. Deborah says, you're so sweet and kind and listen and great parents. We try to be. Helen says, can you please go through the days and times of your new live?
So starting in December, we'll do, which we're already doing the Sunday live. So it's Sunday at 7:30 Eastern Standard. December 4th, starting December 4th, all the way through the month, every Monday, I'll be doing my Cooking with Kyle show where I basically make some meals live on camera on YouTube. And then Jenn will be doing her midweek motivation on Wednesdays, I believe at 7 or 7:30. We haven't really nailed down a good time for that yet. And then we'll hopefully have our vlog coming out every Saturday morning around 9 or 9:30.
And then we'll have 5 short forms a week go out. We don't want to inundate everybody with short forms. We want them to have a purpose. We want them to have meaning behind them. We really want to curate this new schedule to work with our mental health
Yeah.
and to be able to.
We're going to push really hard through December, and in January we'll back off quite a bit,
Mhm.
and then we'll hit it hard again in March. So it's going to be fun.
Yeah.
We've learned a lot in the last 4 years of doing this, and we've learned what works for us and what doesn't, which is just as important. So we're trying to use what we have learned and try to make the best out of it we can.
Yeah. Deborah said, I also lost 2
no.
sons.
Sorry,
Oh,
Deborah.
Deborah, I am so
You
sorry.
had a rough go of it, that's for sure.
All I can say is we've got you this holiday. Okay. You can hang out with us every time we're on, Deborah. Helen said you should name the new bus Wiggles. That's cute. Really Cheryl says, I'm so glad you are back. We love you. We love you too, Cheryl. Anzie said, always take care of y'all's mental health.
That's all you can do. That's all we have. It's one of the only few things we have, and definitely nurture it as much as you can.
Mm-hmm.
But hope you guys have had a great week so far, and I hope the rest of it is just as amazing. And we'll see you guys here in a few days.
Yeah, try out choices. Let me know. Comment on all of our stuff and let me know how your choices are going. See if it works for you. Try it out this week. Let me know next Wednesday if you learned anything and applied it. But we love you so much. Thank you for being here with us from the bottom of our hearts. We love you and we're grateful for you.
So take care of yourself.
See you Saturday. Bye.